Hi, I'm Bob Gallagher, the mayor of the city of Bettendorf, Iowa. Welcome to our State of the City address. Obviously, we're not down the street at our beautiful waterfront convention center, enjoying a meal with hundreds of our best friends and great service from the Isla Capri staff. But because we have so many good things to report to you on the State of the City for 2021, we thought we would tape this message for you in light of the pandemic restrictions so that you can learn how things are going here in your city of Bettendorf. So welcome to the State of the City 2021. The city continues to work on a vision. This vision is a high, lofty goal that we want to work on each and every day here at the city. And it's how I start all of our State of the City addresses. We want to be a livable community with rich cultural and educational and recreational opportunities where we enjoy a vibrant riverfront and a growing competitive business advantage. Thanks to our city administrator and all the department heads, as well as our staff, we continue to strive for this vision each and every day. We start as a council with a goal-setting session that typically happens in the fall. This session works about all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so multiple hours we get together and we talk about what do we think that you in the city of Bettendorf want this city to look like in 5, 10, maybe even 15 years down the road. These are things we've heard from our community in listening sessions or in neighborhood meetings. We continue to work together to create that long-term plan. We then use the plan to put into year-sized, bite-sized pieces. And we hand that over to our city administrator and our department heads who work very hard to accomplish yearly goals. In the winter time, we start working on a budget for the next year, and our budgets will incorporate those top and high priorities that City Council sets, as well as reaching for our city's 5 goals. Now, these 5 goals haven't changed in the 10 years that I've been the mayor, but the middle 3 have moved around a little bit. Number 1, we always talk about the basement level a city must provide. And here in Bettendorf, we believe we have to provide a financially sound city with quality services. That's what we have to do on a daily basis. As we look to the future and how we are going to grow, we want orderly growth and quality development in the city of Bettendorf. We want to grow our current businesses and attract new businesses to our area. We want a vibrant riverfront as a destination for entertainment and living. And all of that adds up to our goal to be a premier place to live, to work, to play here in the Quad Cities. Our department heads work on a daily basis to get us there based on the culture that they've created here in the city. Let's talk about how 2020 into 2021 went financially. Our city runs on a fiscal year from July 1st to the following June 30th. So let's talk about 2020 into 2021 before we talk about our plans for the future. Taking a look at our last year that will end June 30th this year, Bettendorf ranks as one of the greatest, most efficient cities in the state of Iowa. We are comparing ourselves against all cities with 10,000 people or more, and there's 38 of them. We are number 2 in our general fund levy. The general fund levy is set to cap at $8.10 by our state legislature. We are one of 6 cities under that cap, and as you can see by the slide, we're number 2 following Ames. We're at $5.74. Quite a gap between that and $8.10. That shows how well-oiled this machine is, thanks to our city administrator, Decker Plain, and again, those wonderful department heads. If you take a look at the comparison of all taxes and fees, that includes our enterprise funds for stormwater, for sewer, for solid waste collection, we fall number 12. But remember, we are collecting our trash, recycling, and bulky waste every other week. Lots of our counterparts, even in our geographic area, don't do that. So that costs a little bit more, but it keeps our city cleaner and gets all those things out of your house every other week. We are the leanest operating city in the entire state, those 10,000 population cities, all 38 of them. Take a look. We're number 1. That means we do more with less than every city. We only go to 12 when you use those 3 enterprise funds, sewer, stormwater, and solid waste and recycling. That's really mainly because we're under a consent order, being here on the river, from the IDNR to remove infiltration from our sewer system. Stormwater, river water, gets into our sewer system and forces us to go through the sewage process with clean water, or what would be called stormwater. Those projects are pricey, and we've been working on those pursuant to that consent decree with our friends in Davenport. But that's why we go from the leanest operating city to number 12 when we have those enterprise funds. This is great testament, again, to how the city is very efficient and very well run. If you take a look at what you pay in costs as a percentage of the income to your family, Bettendorf ranks very high as well. We're number 6, 2.81% of the household income is used on taxes and fees. It's a very good value to live in Bettendorf. This is a great reason why it happens. We continue to build single-family homes at about 150 or so per year, and now those values of the homes coming on our rolls is over $43 million, as you can see by the right-hand column. Take a look at the left-hand column. As a result of the derecho and as a result of the hailstorm, our permits went through the roof. Over 8,000 permits issued for work to be done on our houses, like siding and roofs. Permit values of $239, almost $240 million. That's double what we've been experiencing in the past. That helped buoy us through the pandemic. And you're going to see some numbers that you're going to be pretty happy with here in just a minute. We continue to accomplish a lot. Despite the pandemic, we moved forward. We moved forward in the downtown. We moved forward in the area by the TBK Sports Complex. We moved forward with infill projects like AAA Court. Lots of great things happening as we continue to grow as a city and a community. In the current, but really prior year budget that's in the current year through June 30th, City Council renewed and continued its pledge to make public safety in Bettendorf their top priority. That's that basement level of excellent city services we always talk about at the beginning of our State of the City addresses. Council approved the hiring of 6 new firefighters, all of whom were on board by February 1st. They're located out at the Surrey Heights Fire Station, and they take us from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. That station is still being staffed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. by our volunteer corps. They continue to learn. They do a great job. We're very pleased that the volunteers there. It's a great asset to our community. We've made upgrades in police technology. Our policy with the body cams is that any time our officers have any contact with the public or go on any routine business, those cameras are on. But technology now, with new body cameras and new squad car cameras, allows us to synchronize them so that the systems get activated at the same time automatically. Anytime something happens, we should have good tape of what happened. And we've used this to protect ourselves in many different instances and to help with law enforcement, especially in this year of a couple officer-involved shootings. As we move forward, we're going to continue to work on problems within the city, one of which is our creeks and waterway system. Stormwater, which is coming in the form of rain at a higher amount in a shorter duration, is meandering our creeks, sometimes overflowing the beds, and we know that we've got some issues there. So the City Council has prioritized, it's one of its top priorities, ensuring that we have enforcement of all of the city codes, which have been updated, and that we work to dedicate funding within our capital improvement projects to upgrade the current basins that collect stormwater, to make them larger, to hold more, and to release that water at a slower rate. This allows less water to come flying down through creek beds and should help support great community assets like our houses and our different types of businesses that may be around our creekways. Like I said, we passed a new ordinance, and now we'll be enforcing that ordinance moving forward. Our continued focus will be along those waterways adjacent to developed areas that might lack appropriate detention. We will continue to implement these projects as we move forward. It's going to be a phased-in approach. It can't happen all in one year due to the cost. But we're going to make sure that we're reducing the flowage through those creekways and that our detention ponds are brought up to code. That's going to be a good change in our community. Another change that we're trying to make is in some of the areas that have become a little bit more dilapidated. We've got a couple of slides to talk about that. We at the council level have worked very hard on making sure the appearance of the community continues to rise, and some of the areas we really kind of focused upon during this year are the following. First, our rental inspections. We've transferred our rental inspection department from fire into community development, been able to hire somebody new and cross-train people in different types of inspections so it can happen at the same time. Additionally, we've had some Section 8 deficiencies in our perception, and we've added our City Administrator, Decker Plain, and our Community Development Director, Mark Hunt, to the EIRHA Board, which handles the region of Section 8 housing and is housed out of Dubuque. So we're going to go try to work through the system to encourage some of these perceived deficiencies we see to get alleviated. We also have new software. One of the things Council has tasked our department heads with is ensuring that we are up to date in technology. Technology that can help us do things better, especially we learned during the pandemic. Ways that we can communicate better, ways that other folks can sign up for things or learn things in our city. We now have a new software package to schedule and track these inspections. That will be very helpful to the folks in code enforcement and the inspection services in the near future. We perceived some issues in our trailer parks, which we tackled last year. Over 30 dilapidated trailers have been removed from the Devil's Glen Trailer Park on State Street, and we continue to work with the landowner at the Glendale Mobile Home Court, and we got the retaining wall fixed there, and really, as far as trailer parks go, we're making great strides in those areas. Help beautify the city just a bit. We continue our efforts in the downtown. We are having a great time building our downtown pursuant to the master plan and the great sense of place that we're creating here for entertainment and living. One of the key elements here is that all of the business owners and landowners down here created this downtown Bettendorf organization. The organization then created a self-taxing district, a SMID, self-supporting municipal improvement district, that will collect a little bit extra tax from them, and then they will be able to determine how they will spend that. As of September of 2020, that tax began to be collected, and they're going to get some payments here coming up. So this summer, look for some improvements downtown, whether it be banners or events. We're going to have a lot of great things happening in the downtown. Now, we also want to continue to encourage people to come downtown. We have 2 brand new surface-free parking lots, and they look pretty cool as far as the parking lot goes. They are strategically located near businesses and the growth down here so that people can park free in a safe environment so that they can patronize our businesses in the downtown area. One of which will be coming online soon. You can see it. It's a 65,000 square foot building right near the bridges. Thanks to our friends Kevin Kellner and the other builders that put this together. TBK Bank is moving their corporate headquarters there. There'll be restaurants and retail, other new office users coming online in the downtown, building the momentum for those who want to be in a cool spot, a destination for entertainment and living right downtown Bettendorf, Iowa. We know that one of the things that continues to rise for all of you at your homes or your businesses is the health insurance cost. So, for the 4th year now, we have had our voluntary wellness program up and running. This program incentivizes people who are employees here to do some things to help their health and wellness. And that incentive is a cash reduction in their cost of insurance. So first, the employees have to complete a biometric screening. Second, they have to complete a health risk assessment. Third, they have to increase their physical activity. And fourth, they either have to engage in a preventative activity or a charitable activity. That would include pushing these folks into the community to help do all kinds of things that you're trying to do at your houses and your business as well in the line of charity. Giving back to the community we believe is important. Additionally, we have asked that our employees take on a little bit more of the cost of their own insurance premiums. This is helping to reduce that outlay, even though next year we're going to see those costs rise just a little bit more. Now, employees who are involved in this program, we hope will learn more about health and wellness, use it in their daily lives, and hopefully this will help reduce health insurance costs and may even help us in the workers' compensation area. One of the things that we've learned through the past 5 or 6 years is that the type of residential offerings that people are looking for has changed. There are a lot of people who want to live in an apartment or a condo setting. There are some who want to live in villa settings. And we're trying to adapt so that those offerings can be here in Bettendorf, but consistent with the style our city has come to expect. So we've worked with our Plan and Zone Committee and Board of Adjustment. We've held zoning workshops so that we can take a look at how these things really affect what the city looks like. And we've made some changes to not only our land use plan, but our building codes. And those revisions will continue into the future when we see things pop up that might trouble City Council, Board of Adjustment, or our friends on the Plan and Zone Commission. As we move to a recap of our last year's city services and facilities, keep in mind that the pandemic really affected us all, okay? And that's the bottom line for the start of the conversation on city amenities. As you know, we had to close the community center. Likely we'll have an RFP out soon, hoping to get some better development in that area. We are working very hard so that when we displace certain activities that were there, we can keep them in the area in the same type of facilities. Things like Alcoholics Anonymous, the food pantry, and the Bettendorf Park Band come to mind. We had to put on hold our pool referendum probably until next September. Not the best time to be going to ask for an increase in your taxes so that we can put in the type of pool our community expects. And we are, though, going to be assessing new locations for splash pads, so that's a positive. There is some money in the budget coming up to put in some additional splash pads, so that can be something of a positive as we come out of the pandemic, understanding that we may not have the type of pool amenity, even on a referendum basis, that we're looking for just yet. Moving to the library, despite the fact that we had a pandemic, they looked at different delivery models and did a great job of making sure you could still use the library despite the pandemic. They also got reaccredited through their certification process until 2023. Not many libraries are accredited. This is a great thing for this library. And they completed a strategic plan that'll take us through 2025, looking at what libraries might look like, especially in light of the pandemic, moving forward. As we move across the street in our learning campus to the Family Museum, they did an awesome job there as well. Despite the governor's mandated shutdown from March 17th to May 22nd, we were the first children's museum to reopen in the entire country. Kim Kidwell and the staff do an awesome job there at the museum. This shows their preparedness, this shows their resiliency, and how well they can work together, even in a pandemic. During the closure, they did great things. You know, most of our facilities did similar things by making sure that they repaired what was there, in this case exhibits, they revised cleaning protocols, they switched to virtual programming, they did the safest thing that they could for the people in our community, but yet still got some good use out of the museum. Unfortunately, our revenues at the museum hovered at about 20% of normal, and we had to downsize staff by 25%. But the museum has a lot to be proud of coming out of that pandemic. The museum staff is strong and resilient, and we look forward to serving you at the museum as soon as we can. In parks, the pandemic affected us basically the same way. We had to downsize, we had to reevaluate, we had to go through all kinds of different measures in cleaning. We took a look at our maintenance and custodial practices, daily protocols, programming options. We tried to reorganize and revamp anything we could throughout parks and the library and the museum to offer a safer, better experience for our customers and citizens, and they've done a great job in Parks and Rec. Palmer Hills, incidentally, had great numbers, record numbers in attendance and in revenue. That's because due to the pandemic, everybody could go play golf, but you couldn't go to the museum. So being outside was great. And we had lots of use of our trails and other outdoor amenities. So we thank you for getting out, for staying socially distanced, but trying to recreate a little bit and bring some positivity back to your mental health. Our staff did an awesome job. They managed camps and clinics and leagues. Although the numbers were smaller, we sold out every one of them. They were all at capacity. So we know there's a pent-up need, and we're trying to meet that need. We did it through the pandemic by offering several new programs, by rolling out some old favorites, and making sure you could remain at home and still do activities by giving activity kits from the Life Fitness Center and other places to do great things at home with your kids and family while you were cooped up. In community development, we had some highlights. We talked a little bit about the rental inspections, but now that's fully integrated into code enforcement. And we're cross-training people. We hired somebody new to help us there. We hired a new permit technician, that we needed for the derecho and the hailstorm when our permits skyrocketed. So we saw those problems. We've met those problems head on thanks to Mark Hunt and his staff in community development. Moving to economic development, Director Jeff Ryder and his staff have done a great job. Jeff went to the city of Davenport and to MetroNet and worked very hard on an agreement that MetroNet would build out all of Davenport and all of Bettendorf so that we had fiber to the premises. That means a fiber cable comes to your house or to your business. This is the same very high speed, high quality broadband the governor is talking about with that huge price tag to make it happen throughout our state. She's right. It is a game changer, and that makes us much more efficient in the ways we communicate, much better able to handle our Zoom calls and the telemarketing or the working from home. So we are doing a whole bunch of things that we're lucky enough to get done before the pandemic, not even knowing it was coming, thanks to Jeff. Now we're working on 5G technology and the small things that we can do as it comes into our community. Basically, we can kind of work on what that aesthetics might look like, depending on if it's on a pole or on the ground, so that we can, when it comes, hold our developers and those folks' feet to the fire to make it look the way we'd like. With TBK Bank Sports Complex being a huge visitor hit, they're continuing to knock it out of the park. It is that game changer we always wanted and talked about, but we, with our friends at Visit Quad City and Sports QC, really need to focus on regional, if not national tourism, especially in the sector that's growing the most and in which there is more money spent than any other, and that's youth sports tourism. So we'll continue to work with our friends to make sure that happens for our community. It's a great boom to the entire region, not just our city. We continue to see economic development, as we talked about, down here by the bridges. We've got a 65,000 square foot building that's building momentum. There are other people already looking at and buying pieces of ground to make cool things to create our district for entertainment and living in the downtown. This is just another cog in the wheel making it happen. Additionally, we have an industrial spec building. This is the second one we've built. This one we believe we've got a buyer for, so we'll be moving on to our third spec building. But this is City Council being forward-thinking, trying to move business and industry into your town to diversify your tax base and to bring more amenities. If you have a new 100 people person job in the spec building, those folks are going to have to eat. They're going to have to find a place to live. Hopefully we're bringing some from outside our community and building what's already here. This is great work, forward thinking by our folks on City Council. We have great development at the TBK Bank Sports Complex. You know it's one of my favorite things to talk about. The business owners up there have named their area the Plex, and you can see it on the signs. It's really cool, but a $65 million investment in sports tourism has led to another $55 million investment all around with new hotels and shops and restaurants. It's a great place to be. Looking into the future, we have a great budget to present. It's about $120 million, but that's a little deceiving because it's really only about $85 million in new money. We refinanced an old bond that was at a higher interest rate to a lower interest rate and cashed out. We had to hold that cash until it could be paid on that old bond. We got the new money to cash out. We had to hold it until it could be called, so it's going to go out the window now when that's called. But we're saving money, a couple $1 million over the life of that bond. This new budget requests 3 new police officers. Again, continued focus on public safety as a #1 goal. That basement of excellent city services will continue under the leadership of this City Council. We're going to allow the fire chief to go after another 6 firefighters with a SAFER grant, staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. SAFER is that acronym. This allows 100% pay for those 6 firefighters in year 1, 100% pay in year 2, and 30% pay in year 3. The city will, of course, make up the difference, and as we move forward after year 3, they'll be 100% ours. But the nice thing is, these firefighters will be able to allow us to man the Surrey Heights Station 24/7 with paid full-time staff. We're going to continue our volunteer program. It's won accolades across the nation, and it is a great program. Those folks are going to have the opportunity to learn from different people in different places throughout our community. So if you're interested in becoming a firefighter, please get your application in. If you're interested in becoming a police officer, please get your application in. we need to get you on a civil service list so you can be hired from that list. The budget keeps your tax levy rate the same as it was last year, $12.80 per $1,000 in valuation. We continue to limit the impact of fee increases in those enterprise funds for stormwater, sewer, and for solid waste. This budget will continue our approach to lean operating, the leanest in the state of Iowa, but aggressive capital improvements like streets and sewers, so that we can get Forest Grove Road done out by TBK, so that downtown we can make sure all the commitments to the bridge and to the streets and sewer systems here are taken care of, so that your neighborhood is safe and you have great streets on which to drive. This budget builds on that wonderful strategic response that our city council, department heads, and city administrator had to the pandemic. We're going to add fund balance from our traditional cap of 25% across the board in reserve funds. Will be at 35%. Plus, we anticipated a $2 million shortfall ending this June 30th. We're going to have a $2 million surplus, and that will go into fund balance to ensure that if something were to happen coming out of the pandemic or in the next few years, we are adequately prepared and can make it through that pandemic. Don't worry, your taxes remain exactly the same. We're not increasing your taxes. We are laying the groundwork for a reduced reliance in those enterprise funds on bond financing. So when we do a project now in storm or in sewer, we are typically bonding for that money, but we will have enough reserve based upon our 10-year plan for these projects as a result of our consent decree with Iowa DNR to remove the infiltration into the systems that we've been talking about for years. But we're going to be able to do those projects with the money just in those funds in the coming years. That means we won't have to rely on paying on a bond any interest. So that's great for the citizens of Bettendorf. And we're going to continue with those capital improvement projects, some $15,000 in our council top priorities in the next coming year. What does that mean to your taxes? Well, the state has reduced the commercial rollback, and therefore, in an average priced home in Bettendorf, the median, or mean value, which is $250,000 now. We continue to go up every year. $250,000. You're going to pay $42.65 more in the rollback controlled by the state. A little bit more in your sewer, storm, solid waste. A total of $63.53 or $5.29 per month. If you look at a commercial property worth $500,000, that rollback did not change, so you're going to look at, again, about $5.13 per month. We still are the best value anywhere across the state. Now, this is how the budget divisions look. The general fund comes down just a little bit. We're going to see a little bit of an increase in health insurance and a pretty substantial decrease in transit. And that's because we're getting a bunch of money from the CARES Act to offset transit costs, so we can keep your levy at $12.80. It's my favorite slide because we're always told that how expensive it is to live in Bettendorf, but it isn't. You are in the best city for value anywhere. You get the best city services, and you pay less in taxes than anywhere else, including the taxes for your school districts. So this is everything everywhere. School, county, everything. You are 15% lower than our friends in Davenport and probably almost 50% our friends in Illinois. That is a credit to the continued efficiencies and hard work, not only of council, but of how the city is run by our city administrator, Decker Plain, and all of our department heads. These are our top 10 projects for public works. Looking forward, we'll continue the I-74 commitments. That's really a year after year commitment until it's done for things like the cantilevered bike path, the sewers that we had to redo, the streets that we're redoing, the let-down structure, and the elevator. Lots of stuff that's going to be really cool, but we're chipping away at it each year. We're going to do a bunch of resurfacing and patching. Look for us on Indiana, Greenbrier, Middle Road as we continue to move forward. We're always working on our sidewalks and alleys. That's what keeps these streets and sewers and sidewalks and alleys up to the expectation of our citizens here in Bettendorf. We authorized 3 officers we talked about that. That's coming up. Very exciting to be able to bring new officers on our police force. We'll get 3 this year, and over the coming years, we'll probably get another 3 so that we can add another beat or another organized session for the police when they leave every day for their shift. And the SAFER grant we talked about could add 6 more people to the Surrey Heights Fire Station, manning it 24/7, 365, with paid instead of volunteer firefighters. Now, we understand that people want to be communicated with a bit differently. We have younger people and younger families. We are trying very hard to learn the best way to communicate throughout our entire region, not only in our city. So we've enhanced social media use. We've included short videos. I'm doing a mayor's message every Friday at noon, so watch for that. We started that when the pandemic started as a way to get information to you on the pandemic, but now we've really broadened it to have all kinds of great information from every nook and cranny of the city. We are creating a new website. We're going to do an RFP, then we're going to launch it. We're going to have all kinds of different government channel format changes on Channel 9 of Mediacom, citywide promotional videos, more staff engagement with the public, less print material because it seems as though most people want things in digital format now. We're moving in that direction. We got to thank Lauren Haldeman. We got to thank all the folks who have sat on the communications committee that has now been streamlined and reorganized. And we've implemented, like everybody else, this virtual meeting strategy that we're using not only today, but we use it in every single one of our city council meetings. As our city grows, we continue to work with our friends at Scott County and in LeClaire to ensure that we're going to do so orderly and that we're not pulling any punches. Everybody's in the same room. But we continue to grow. We're growing at about 3% in valuation and 5% a year. Those are great problems to have, but it does bring us to that safety that City Council really believes must be number one, and I agree. That's the addition of our firefighters, the addition of our police officers. So we're going to continue to do that as the budget permits. Economic development, we've talked a little bit about how we're getting here and how we're able to keep your taxes so low. The lowest general fund levy in the entire state. Here's why. We have lots of great economic development projects. Some $75 million coming on board in 3 senior living facilities or co-ops. Great additions to our community. We have a new downtown restaurant coming on board in the Essentra Credit Union building. Retail amenities, adventurous brewing, cookies and dreams, Food Affair Bistro. Get up to Food Affair, it's fantastic. Verde, all kinds of different things happening in different parts of our city, things of which we should all be proud and make sure, especially in light of the pandemic, that you patronize these folks who are investing in your community. We'll see more multifamily residential here in the downtown, bringing people here, which will then spur the need for business and industry. And we're going to have new schools as Pleasant Valley continues to grow. Forest Grove School, very near the TBK Sports Complex and directly adjacent to the Forest Grove Park, will be coming in online this year. Obviously, the I-74 project continues. We're very pleased with the progress. We're hopeful that by the end of the year, we will see the second span completed so that next year we'll be able to be driving on both and moving forward, watching the old bridge come down. This has spurred development, and we will look for development not only on our riverfront around the casino, but maybe west of the bridge in the coming months. Lots of great people willing to take a chance and make an investment in Bettendorf because it's paying off. We have great highlights. At the end, we always talk about the things that we did in the pictures. We've had a great year despite the pandemic, and we hope that you have too. We hope that this might be a bit of a ray of sunshine, understanding that your taxes will not increase, your services will remain that high quality you've come to expect, and we have positive things going on in Bettendorf. We're increasing the folks who help us with public safety and police and fire. We're seeing great development in all corners of our city and infill projects along Middle Road, Devil's Glen, AAA Court. Great things are happening. It's a great time to be here. Now is our opportunity to jump forward, stay ahead of the curve, and make sure that we are well poised for the future. We're making changes, great things coming to the golf course. We're going to reevaluate how we can be the best museum and library. And you should make sure that when you see these department heads, when you see Decker Play and our city administrator, when you see somebody who sits on city council and gives of their time and talent, say thanks, because they've done an excellent job through this pandemic. Lots of sleepless nights, lots of Zoom calls, lots of telephone calls to find ways that we can work together to get through this together. great people doing a great job. They really care about you and your business, your home, your family here in Bettendorf. Thank you.